Well, I'm pumped up for the fight. Pumped up to see everybody fight. It's an honor to be out here getting to do an open workout with everybody and getting everybody to see this. I'm very thankful for this. I've trained my whole life, and I've always had the UFC being a goal of mine, so I've always visualized this. I've always seen myself being able to fight in the UFC, and now here it is. So I'm excited.
Is it surprising at all that it's here this fast, though?
It is. It's pretty surprising because right now I'm the youngest person in the UFC. I turned 19 in March 1st. So I guess that part's surprising, but I've always seen it coming. I've always felt it, and I'm ready.
You don't seem nervous at all. You seem to kind of be embracing the spotlight. Is that just who you are?
I would say so, yes, sir. Well, since I was little, I started doing martial arts when I was 4.5 years old. So by the time I was 6 or 7, I've been traveling, competing all around the world. Russia, Croatia, Ireland, Mexico, so many times, like everywhere you can think of. So I've been in front of large crowds since I was little. So I guess that's part of it. So I guess the bigger the crowd is, you could say, the more I feel more comfortable.
Does this feel different from those crowds at all?
Oh, absolutely, it sure does, because I guess all the filming, all the people, I mean, it just kind of pumps me up. It makes me feel ready for it, so I'm super pumped.
How do you kind of back yourself away from that a little bit and not just focus on this is awesome and get down to Frank Trevino on Saturday night?
Well, like you said, how do I back myself into it? I'm always, if you look at me, as you'll notice, I'm always very humble. I try to be very smart, use wisdom about everything. So I never underestimate anybody. Everybody that fights in the UFC is in the UFC for a reason, because they're all good. So I'm looking forward to the fight. I can't wait for the fight. And I know that I've trained my hardest, so it's going to be an awesome fight.
When you were a kid, like, what was the first UFC fight that you remember that made you think, like, I have to do this one of these days?
That's a good question. The first UFC fight, I've been watching it since a long time ago. Ken Shamrock, French Shamrock, everybody, and the older days when they used to have all the fighting where they had shoes on, and it was almost like bare knuckles, if you remember.
Right.
So there's so many fighters I remember, but I guess coming back into like the more recent days, I would say Georges St-Pierre. At least that's one of the favorite fighters, my favorite fighter, I would say.
What was it about GSP that you liked?
It's just he's a phenomenal athlete. If you look at him, he's ripped up, he's in shape, he's incredible cardio, conditioning, strength, and you can just see he has a little bit of everything. He's super well rounded. His stand up, he can just pick somebody apart with a jab and just beat him up, or he can take him down. And his takedowns are like one of the best takedowns I would say I've seen anybody. The best MMA timing for takedowns.
There does seem to be so much hype and just expectations on you. So what's success for you on Saturday night? I mean, is it just a win? Do you have to win in style? Do you have to do it a certain way? What's the measure for it to be a success for you?
Well, for the success part, I would say finishing the guy. So, I mean, obviously everybody like to finish the guy or like to finish him as quick as possible. I don't know if everybody thinks like that. They may think, hey, I just want to go 3 rounds with this guy, or I want to go 2 rounds and make this guy tired. But I look at myself being explosive, being quick to try to finish the guy, and putting on a great show for everybody, making it interesting.
What do you think of Francisco as an opponent? Can you break him down?
Well, obviously he's a UFC fighter, so everybody that fights in the UFC is in the UFC for a reason. And I would also say that he's supposed to have a good chin. He's 12-1, so he has experience. He's supposed to have good cardio, good conditioning, it looks like, but we'll see. I have great cardio myself. I've been blessed with great cardio since I was little, so we'll see how that goes.
You're not as experienced in MMA terms as many of the other fighters in the UFC, but like you said, you've been training martial arts since you were just a little boy. Do you feel that that type of training in different sorts of martial arts gives you an edge in that you know how to compete in different areas?
Absolutely. I would say it ties in big time because you have the stand-up, for instance, so you have karate, you have kickboxing, you have straight boxing, and that all ties in. Having the timing for, let's say, the takedowns, for instance. If you split it up, so you have all of your stand-up alone, you have all of your wrestling alone, your jiu-jitsu alone, and then now it's like piecing it together like a puzzle. So that helps big time because being well-rounded is very important, because if you only have stand-up, for instance, and a guy takes you down, then what are you going to do? So I think it's going to come together very nicely.
You had that moment where you sit back and wonder, look, a lot has happened really quick for you, and to make it to the UFC like this fast.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I realize I am the youngest, and I believe, if I'm right, I should be the second youngest in history. And sure, it does. It is happening very fast. And that's what I look forward to. That's what I want it to happen. I like that. So, yes, sir.
Will this be one of the biggest shows and biggest audiences that you've ever competed in front of?
Absolutely, I would say yes, because the Toyota Center holds how many? Like close to 20,000 people, I would say.
Yeah.
And it sure is, and I'm excited for it. So I would say it's the biggest. The UFC is the #1 league, I would say, in the world, especially for MMA. So I'm pumped.
And your final message for the fans? I mean, obviously you got a great reception here. Everybody loved your open workouts. What's your message for the fans who follow you here?
Well, everybody that's in Houston and in the area in Texas, this is fighting at Houston Toyota Center, so UFC 192. I'm from Houston myself. I live in Katy, so I'm a Texas guy. So hope y'all are rooting for me. I'm gonna put on a great show and make all of y'all happy. So I'm excited.
Does the bout being in Houston have special meaning for you?
It sure does, because the fact that's in Houston is all my family, my friends, and everybody surrounding me can come out and watch. So, and they can tune in, and it makes a difference when you know somebody. So I guess your friends and family, if they know somebody that's fighting on the card, then more people want to tune in. So it makes a difference to me.
Does it add a little bit of pressure, or does it make it more comfortable for you?
I would say there's always, you don't have like a pressure, like a nervous pressure, but you have that butterfly feeling, not right now, but before you walk out there in the cage. So it's not a pressure that you're going to do bad, it's a pressure that you're going to do great and you're ready for success and victory, and you're going to make everybody see a show, make them happy with it. So
lastly, when you got the call, what was the discussion, and who did you talk to before you accepted? Was it accept right away? Was it consider, am I actually ready for this opportunity? Who did you talk to, and how did the conversation go?
Well, actually, it was 2 fights ago, so I had a fight in Lake Charles, Louisiana, in the Golden Nugget Casino, and Dana White actually showed up there, and I had no idea until I was pretty much walking out there. So I knew it was his first time scouting in like a whole entire year, so that was a big deal to me. And when I actually walked out there, I heard the news, hey, Dana White's here, but I actually haven't seen him. So I was like, okay, that's great. And then I actually got out there in the cage, I saw him, so I finished my guy in the first round very quickly, and it just worked out great. It was like divine intervention with him there at that time, and it was perfect.